walk up to any strapping, cultured young person and say,
"What's those wrist rockets? For the Republic!" "Hey, ho, ho! Papa Tina's got to go!"
And you will be answered with a smile and a dreamy expression of nostalgia as they stare off into the distance, remembering fondly their rompings of youth. The original Battlefront series is gaming royalty, titles with their own exhibit in the Hall of Fame. And when Asper announced a re-release of the duo in the Classic Collection, we rejoiced. The release, of course, sucked. It sucked hard. You already know this, and a lot of people have covered this already, and I don't want to spend too much time on everything wrong with the game. So I'll have to talk fast because there was a lot. No multiplayer galactic conquest or private co-op at all. Heroes are invincible on Battlefront 1, constant crashing, it's not even full retexture of either game, no substantial quality of life improvements besides frame rate and resolution, clunky 2000s era server browser, netcode issues, broken spawns on a game that is 20 years old. What the fuck, they broke the already fine spawns. New bugs and a re-release from the mid-2000s is nuts. No stick conversion, local split screen now limited to 2 players instead of 4, cutscenes missing on story missions, audio broken on loading screens, no controller dead zone, ticket solo, the matches only last 2 minutes, and all of these things are personal things I ran into, not just things I read online. For $35, we've been had. This is a lazy, slipshod repackage of a 20-year-old game, a heartless, low-effort cash grab in worse condition than the original game that released literally decades ago. I broke my pre-order rule, even after all the horrible Star Wars releases we've been through, just to get burned by another one. But somehow, the sadness never took hold. Knowing that this game deserved better, and knowing I overpaid $30 for essentially a mod, even after battling glitches, both old and new, I couldn't help but enjoy myself. I smiled, I got lost in the maps. I stayed up till 2 AM when I had work the next day. Everything about the Battlefront collection's horrible state of release, missing features, etc. should have tilted me off the very edge, but something about it simply did not allow me to have a bad time. Is the gameplay just that good? Did it benefit from lucky timing? Is the game carried by the Star Wars atmosphere? Are we just nostalgic? Yes, all of these things. I'm just kidding, there are some legitimate reasons why this early 2000s game is still fun when compared to games in 2024. I have friends that didn't really play Battlefront as a kid who are having a blast with it now, and they say stuff like they had no business making a game this fun in 2004. So outside of nostalgia, what makes this game still so fun 20 years later? Some of it's the casual nature. For better or for worse, the advent of esports has made an era-defining shift in online gaming. PvP online games now must be perfectly balanced, with a tightly tuned progression system that requires 800 hours and $200 in microtransactions to unlock everything. Each side must have access to all weapons, regardless of faction. There can be no asymmetry. It's really boring. Let's look at Hoth. This is one of the more beloved maps of the series, but it's completely imbalanced. The empire of giant AT-AT walkers that can evaporate rebels from miles away while taking rocket after rocket after rocket. To combat this, the rebels have tin can snow speeders, which can either pepper the walkers with laser fire or do the cool rope tie thing from the movies, which is pretty tough and requires some coordination. And even if you manage to get one down, they have a second one. And even if you get that one down, the two of them just respawn. All of that doesn't even mention the more nimble AT-ST walkers providing support. The Empire is so stacked on this map, it's crazy. But if anyone here happens to be a Star Wars fan, you'll remember that's kind of how the battle was, and it's part of the fun. The asymmetry is not a hindrance here, but rather why this level works so well. Everyone is still perfectly willing to play as the odds against rebels because it's fun playing the underdog. Even if you fail, you got to have a blast reliving the hero's perspective of an iconic scene from a beloved movie. Contrast this asymmetry with the modern EA Battlefronts. In these shiny new ones, you can use the Empire Blaster as the rebels and vice versa because who cares? You can't really do the rope thing because who cares? The snow speeders only carry one person, spawn in the sky, instead of taking off from a hangar because who fucking cares about shit being cool anymore? Let's all just play fucking Roblox and Valorant and Call of Duty Mobile until our thumbs fall off. I can't believe it. It's also worth talking a little about the progression model. It's nice in these older games that there are no weapons locked behind progression walls. When you're a clone trooper, you get the clone trooper rifle from the Star Wars universe. You want something funky? You gotta select a different class. There's nobody in the lobby finagling their fully unlocked loadouts to try to find every last advantage so they can curb stomp you as hard as possible while you're just trying to relax after a shitty day at work. These older games are about mastering the limited tools you have available to you, the same tools available to everyone else. Somebody with 200 hours in the game is going to be better than you because they're better with those same tools, not because they have access to better tools than the beginner. Load into Star Wars Battlefront, the 2015 one, and try to play for like 15 minutes. You're gonna get stomped so hard by people with the craziest loadouts, you're gonna uninstall it in like 15 minutes. Which is awful game design, by the way. Like, why do we give more experienced players better loadouts? This has been driving me crazy forever. In the older Battlefronts, you hop in, you play some games, you hop out. You hop back in a week later, have more of a blast, hop back out. You slowly improve each time you play. The meta doesn't really change. Have any of you tried to go back to Rainbow Six Siege after a year or two away from it? We got jobs and shit, like it's hard to keep up. I also think there's something interesting about the matchmaking. This old school lobby system is kind of refreshing. You know, it's nice that as you get better, you simply have better rounds and appear higher on the scoreboard, instead of getting placed with sweatier and sweatier opponents who will make the game more stressful than the life you're trying to escape from for a few minutes. It's simpler, and those who are struggling can easily play on servers with fewer human players in order to brush up their skills. Another important aspect is the bots. A lot of us played this game without access to the online element, so the bots are an important part of this game's DNA. And while online gaming is much more accessible today, I still feel like there's a place for bots. In a game like Battlefront, where you're supposed to be one small soldier in an unimaginably large and intergalactic war, bots add some scale to the battle you're in, but allow you to survive for longer and feel like you're a movie character with some plot armor. It's time for the sad old man speech, unfortunately. The era of split-screen gaming has passed us by. This is a genuine shame. These two games were a prominent part of that era, an era of playing in the basement of a friend's house or with your brother in his room. Long gone is the golden age of playing games together on the same couch. This is due to societal shifts more broad than I'm smart enough to analyze and larger in scope than we can even comprehend while living through them. So another year, another revered childhood Star Wars memory hollowed out and sold back to us with a nostalgia markup. This one hurt. Luckily it didn't have the loot boxes, but it didn't have Co-op Galactic Conquest either, so I'm not really celebrating. It also didn't have Co-op Rise of the Empire, or a party system, or any way to reliably play with your friends, or 60 FPS for the host of a server, or working skyboxes, or passable hit registration, or true 4K textures.